Welcome to another episode of Spirit-Anointed Leadership, a podcast designed to help all of us go to the next level of Spirit-Anointed leadership together. Now, today I want to talk about building projects, but I'm actually not going to talk much about brick and mortar. We're going to start there, and then we're going to get to the stuff that's really important. But let's talk about brick and mortar for just a second. I actually moved with my family into the home that we now live in 15 years ago. And we actually bought it 13 years ago. We rented it for a couple of years and we bought it 13 years ago. And 6 months after we bought it, it flooded. No lie, it flooded. And wonderful insurance company did not cover it because they said it was an act of God. So we got to pay $18,000 to fix the bottom of our house. It was a fully finished basement that we got to redo again. But over the years, ever since then, of course, sometimes we have to fix our houses, not because we want to, but because there's an act of God and we have to fix our house. But there are other times through the years that my sweet wife, Mary, has come to me and said, Chris, it's time to update our house a bit. Now, I don't know what it is. I don't know if it's just because I'm a guy or whatever. It just never crosses my mind to think about updating our house. It never does. But Mary has continually reminded me to say, Chris, if we really want to keep this value that we have in our home appreciating, then we've got to update it every once in a while. The kitchen cannot stay the same way it was when the house was built 25 years ago and expect the value of our home to stay up where we want it to stay up to. Now, if you were to come to my house, you would recognize that I live in a very average home. It's far from anything fancy. We live in a very average subdivision in a very average home. But nonetheless, we've had to, over the years, and we're getting ready to again, spend a little bit of money just to keep it updated, just to make sure that we're not allowing parts of the house to come under disrepair and other parts of the house just to no longer look modern. Now, here's the thing. If we think about pouring resources into brick and mortar, I'm wondering, have you thought about the most significant asset in your life, which is the people around you? Have you thought about building into their life? Have you thought about investing into them? I want you to think for just a minute about the people that surround you. I want you to think about maybe the volunteers that you're blessed to serve with. I want you to think for just a moment about the people perhaps that you're on staff with, if you happen to have a staff. I want you to think about those people that show up week in and week out to help you advance the kingdom of God as you guys do that together as a team. And my question to you is, as you think about those folks, what are you doing to build into them? What are you doing to add value to their life? See, I think that's our responsibility as Spirit-Anointed leaders. I know, obviously, we all know that Jesus took it very seriously. He obviously added value to the disciples. He obviously made sure that they understood what it meant to heal people, what it meant to teach. He would send them out. We remember one time he sent 12 and then he sent the 72. He sends people out to do the work of the ministry, but he trained them in how to do that. He built into their life and then he sent them out. And my question is, what are we doing to build into the lives of the people around us? And there are all kinds of things that we can do. Obviously, we can take them to conferences. We can take them to places. And I love taking people to conferences and allowing their hearts and their minds to be expanded by the things that they learn in places like that. I love taking people to meet other leaders, people that are capital L leaders, perhaps working in other fields outside the church. But I want to do my best to put people that I know and love and that serve around me in the right environment with capital L leaders that they can learn from and grow from. And I've done that for nearly 2 decades now, just doing my best to introduce the people that I serve with to great leaders that they can glean from. That's another thing we can do. A third thing that we can do is we can actually read some books together. Let's find a great book and let's read it together. And let's glean all that we can from the knowledge of other people. And sometimes I kind of go back and forth from great books that feed our soul to great books that are just strategic in nature. And I go back and forth from book to book on that. And I just want to add value. And finally, another thing that's really important to me is actually taking the time to build into them through teaching leadership lessons. Now, I know that's foreign to a lot of us, but I actually spend as much time writing a leadership lesson for the staff that I'm blessed to serve with as I do a message that I would give on a weekend. And the reason for that is because I recognize that I've got to pour into the lives of the people around us, because if I'm not doing that, then we together as a collective team are not becoming all that God created us to become. So I take it as my personal responsibility to say, what am I doing to grow the people around me? So here's all I want you to do. This podcast is shorter than normal, and that's okay, because it's a drive podcast. It's meant to be that. What I want you to do is I want you to consider, who are the 4 or 5 people perhaps that you can begin to pour into? And then ask yourself the question, what can I do to intentionally pour into them? Are we going to start reading a book together? Am I going to take them to a conference? Am I going to introduce them to a leader and we're going to glean the things that we can from them? What am I going to do to build into them? Spirit-anointed leaders recognize that speed of the leader, speed of the team, and speed of the team, speed of the organization, the church. And so I just want to encourage you, write some things down. Where are the areas that I want to see people really grow in? And what am I going to do to intentionally help them grow? And together, if we'll build and invest into the lives of the people around us, man, not only will they ultimately be grateful, but we'll look around in a few years and we'll recognize that we have some phenomenal leaders now around us, and we're chasing after God's purposes for our lives and God's kingdom in fresh new ways. That's what I want for you. So let's go be Spirit-anointed leaders who build into the lives of the people around us. Let's think about the people around us in a good way, in an appropriate way, as building projects that we are investing in. Hey, would you do me a favor? Would you share this podcast with another leader that you respect and love? And maybe together you guys can think about ways that you can build into the lives of the people that serve with you. And then also, would you like this podcast? And finally, do us a favor and subscribe. We want to bring fresh and good content to you every Monday. So subscribe, share, and like. That would really be a blessing to us. Thanks so much. Have an awesome day.